Hello, welcome to AI Time Journal show. Today I'm joined by Mania. She is CEO of Kagera.ai, and she is helping businesses to work with data science and AI. So over to you, Mania. Can you briefly introduce yourself and then we take it from there?
Okay. Uh, I help executives optimize their downtime and minimize their performance in with machine learning and deep learning. So idea is that we mostly work with oil and gas companies right now, but also moving to different similar industries like mining industry, like food and beverage, also retail and pharmaceutical industry. So we are basically focused on the industries who are production industries and trying to find the way to minimize and optimize everything that can be optimized with use of machine learning and AI.
Cool, excellent. So let's take a step back, and I would be interested, and of course our viewers would be interested to know more about what made you move into data science. At what point did you make the decision? Okay, I'm jumping into data science and I'm going to help people with machine learning.
Yeah, so in 2016, I was on a class where they were talking about AI, machine learning, data science, and I went out from that class because I said, this is not possible that this can happen. This is bullshit. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was intrigued about it, so I was reading a lot about it. And then I finished faculty in 2017. Before that, I was working for different companies, and there even I had my own startup, but it's entirely different from the field. I was always thinking in pictures and in numbers. So there was one Canadian company that they wanted a data analyst for
Mm-hmm.
their 3D printers and everything, and I was really wanted to try with it. I found a mentor from US who helped me to because I wanted to go in a field of IT, but I didn't know where to go because I finished economics and I wanted to use my good background in mathematics and statistics, not to just throw it away. So then I asked one of the that my mentor, I asked him about it, and he told me that for me it's better to go in data science part than into the front end and or back end part. So I decided to go there. And he gave me some a roadmap what to actually learn. I was learning that on the job, and I was implementing that in the beginning. So my first job was actually using Tableau. That was like the core of the product, and I really like it. So then I began to explore more. So uh, for now, I even don't anymore use Tableau and anything like that. But that was my first time, and I really like it. So we optimized a lot of stuff in that company. It was they have one part of the company was 3D printing, other one was they had a call center. So we find a way how to use the data and how to actually help their call center to make more leads and more sales with just simple visualization and gathering the data everywhere on the same place.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So maybe it's also would be interesting for people who want to jump into data science career. Um, I think what I get from your comment is that doesn't matter where you are coming from. If you have a will, you can
Yeah.
learn the new skills. So, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so when I was going to make a decision to go at the faculty, I didn't know what I want to be when I grow up, and I know a lot of data scientists who are from different fields.
Yeah.
You even also have, so even that background that you have that's from different field can even help you to have that different mindset,
Yeah.
that you can get it a little bit further, that you can have growth mindset and different like a design thinking that you can have. So I even found that a lot of people who are outside of industry, so that they finish something entirely different and they learn how to code in Python and or even just data visualization part, that they are really good because they probably, some of them, they found a job in the industry from their background with this new tools, and they are actually unstoppable. So and I think that another thing that's really important, that it needs to be passion there. So I love it, and then I it's when I, even when I work on it and when I do it, it's not like I'm working. So for myself, I have a much bigger problem when to stop. So I now are putting,
You're having a lot of fun.
until this time I'm working, and then I stop, because otherwise sometimes it happens that I'm like, oh my God, it's really late, I need to go. So
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you just made, because as data science is a team sport, so you need to have different people working together to achieve the goal. And the other thing is like really to have be passionate about it. Then you can achieve. Then there is basically no limit, as you put it. So could you also shed light a little bit on how you are using data science and machine learning to help the businesses create value? And perhaps you could also quote an example from one of the industries or businesses that you're working with.
yeah, okay. So the first thing is, I always understand what are the core problems that they have, and then based on that, I then see what we can do. The idea is that we always try to find something small, some small problem that we can implement it, and then we kind of make a proof of concept that it's working with their data locally. And then if that's making and saving their costs, or making even, having an outcome to their revenue, then we put it in a deployment mode and they can use it like in-house. That's how we do it. In the first 2 years, we worked with different industries. So we have products for libraries. So we've made a recommendation system for libraries for supply chain, that we saved, more than 30% of their costs for it. Then we made also other projects, with other clients. But the most, let's say, business value we have in oil and gas industry, where we made two applications. One of them is called PyHazoop. Other one is PyRisk. PyRisk is actually the first ever tool that it's utilizing machine learning. So they have a QRA. So that's some standard in oil and gas industry, where they're doing some assessments. And mostly you have six, engineers who work there for 2 years on that, on average. And then they give you some recommendations. So, but here we actually get, six different algorithms who got all of the data in the same place, who try to actually detect different risks, and the probability of fatality of people, environment, assets, and everything in the one place. And that way we actually, our accuracy is much bigger than engineers. Again, it's not subjective, so the information there and the data that shows are, it's a third party, so it cannot be subjective based by the engineers. And we give them the results that brought them a really big value in 3 months, which is, compared to 3 months and 2 years, it's a lot of savings. And it's a just small tackle on the industry that can be developed. So how I understand it from this perspective is, it brings a lot of value, especially today in this corona time, because as oil and gas industry and any other production industry, they need a lot of people on the board. So then this something is really useful for them, because they will, again, they will not need to have as much people on the board. Another part is that they actually don't have a lot of engineers who have that knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's something like the most issue that this oil and gas industry has, and probably other industry, is that you have one engineer who has that super knowledge, but others are, average or even below average. And then how you will replace this super guy, we don't know. This way, you actually put it everything in the tool, in data tool, and then you can get the information there. And then all of them, they can use it, and that way it's even saving their time, because it's centralized, it's connected to each other. Because mostly common that they have is they send reports to each other, and then in some time they lose it. So this way
Yeah,
you will
I think that's the great learning or let's say lessons from this comment that you made. is that on one hand there is a lack of skilled workforce, right? And the second is there is a need for automation, as we have all learned from this pandemic. So there is a big need for automating the stuff where possible. And there are a lot of opportunities, and AI, machine learning, plays a great role there. And in terms of application, I think there is a huge potential in pretty much every industry, and there are even new opportunities that could be created. And to definitely bridge this shortage of skills or skilled worker, AI and machine learning could definitely help a lot. So moving on, what are the best, let's say, or one of the investments that has propelled your career? It could be in terms of time, money, or use cases that really make you spark.
Yeah, so my first thing when I began is I had, 3 rules that I need to forget about the money, I need to forget about the time, and I need to forget about fears. So, so
Yeah,
I invested actually everything from that. And
yeah,
in the first 2 years of my business, I decided to not spend, any money on anything, like that I don't see as necessity. Even clothes, even going to expensive restaurants, even using taxi every day and some kind of that kind of stuff. So I actually cut out all of my expenses from that point, and I was investing all of my money in learning curve. Also, I bought the really good laptop because the first thing that it's important in for data science and machine learning and AI is that you need to have a really decent, working station. So I
yes,
invested my first money on it. Then I was then finding tutorials where I can learn it. And at the beginning, I was using free tutorials. Then I was buying them, and then getting a knowledge. And I was always learning and then implementing, learning and implementing. So I never got that I finish all of the stuff, and then it's just use cases from the courses, but I don't implement it. So the way how I learn it is that everything I learn, I go and immediately implement. So I was failing, a lot of times. I remember the days, when the code is not running, it doesn't work. I don't know why it's not working. So it was a lot of late nights, a lot of coffees and everything. But it's I remember I saw somewhere someone said, maybe it was on LinkedIn, I don't know, that if you invest every day additional time, that that you can become an expert in 3 years. So I was literally listening to that. So I had a discipline, every day, no matter what happens, I am 2 hours having going through courses, no matter how I am sleepy, whatever, every day, no matter where I am, I
yeah,
was doing that for it's still like that. And because when I began, I remember that everybody told me, because I'm not from the field, so my background is economics. They said it's not possible that you can understand that and you can get in that industry because it's too much complex. Are you crazy? You want to do something and then in 6 8 months to get a job? Are you crazy? That doesn't work like that. And then I said, okay, but let me try at least. And then I
yeah,
was doing that, and actually, when I succeeded, they were like, "How that happened?" And I said, "It happened. I do it every day. Instead of talking, it couldn't happen. I just go and do and have an action."
yeah,
And the other thing that I learned is that I always say, okay, this is stuff that I know, this is stuff that I don't know, but I'm willing to learn this, and I go and learn it. And that's how I was always open when I was talking with all of my employees, after that with the clients. And I always find a way how to resolve the problem. And if I don't know how to resolve the problem, I also go back and say, I this is out of my hands. It cannot be, tackled with it. That's it. Because the idea how I see it, I first understand what's the problem in the company. If I see that it can be resolved with data science, machine learning, and AI, I say okay. But if I see it cannot be because they're not prepared for that, then I say, okay, this is not something that can be used, and I don't want to get your money just to tell you that you can invest your money in something shiny, but then that application will not be used for you, you will trash it. then it's better to not do anything than to, do it like that.
I think that is an excellent summary and actually advice for our viewers and listeners, those who want to jump into data science field. Being disciplined, being open, right? Taking the risks, being honest with the client and saying no when you can't handle it or when something is not for you, right? You being really honest and open about it, and really taking the risk and how to say, stretching yourself. So like in the beginning you said, taking the risk, limiting your expenses and all those things, and sticking to the discipline, so spending late hours to really master the skills. So I think those are great advices for our viewers, those who want to jump into data science. So continuing on that, you mentioned like how you came into data science and what kind of struggle or effort. I think I shouldn't use the word struggle because you're passionate about it. So it was an effort, and it was like you brought your whole sum to it. This right, but now how do you keep current with the latest trends and updates in the data science field? Because on one end, you are working with the client to solve their business problems, right, to address their issues. And at the same time, this data science and AI field is so dynamic. It is changing every moment. So how do you keep current with that?
Yeah, so I'm keep moving, learning. So all the tools that we have developed recently were all from the part of machine learning and data science. Now we want to develop products in from with a deep learning. So actually, I'm now going more deeply in it. The way how I work it, I go and understand it first, and develop different tools on different courses, and then I show my team, part of it, and then together we develop the tools that can help the industry. So I'm focused on oil and gas, and it helps me because I'm only focused on that industry. So I know their problems, and then I just find a tool that can help it. So I really believe now that deep learning can be something that can even more revolutionize their industry, because from the perspective of softwares, they don't have a lot of stuff. From the perspective of hardware, they have everything,
Yeah.
and they have data. So it's I'm always tracking what is happening from other people in the field. So I look what they're doing on LinkedIn. I look at that. I also bookmark it. Then I my working day is that the 2 hours per day. I also include learning.
Yeah.
So it's always like that. So without it, I cannot be on the top of the market. So the core of this field is that you learn and apply, learn and apply, learn and apply. So if you are not willing that you will every day invest 2 hours or at least 1 hour on working and developing something new, that's learning from courses, then maybe this field is not for you. That's how I do it. So there are a lot of stuff that are happening every day. You see new stuff coming up.
Yeah.
It's not easy to keep up the curve, but it's I try to find something that I see that it's most useful for this typical case, and then I implement it. So I'm sure that I don't know everything what's happening, that I cannot amplify everything, because before this situation with corona, I was going to conferences, and that way I was able to meet other people from other fields and to talk with them what's happening. Now that's not possible, so it's a little bit lagging and lack because of that, because a lot of stuff can be online, but some stuff it's not possible to be online. you know
I absolutely agree, and I still remember the time when we met at data science conference in Serbia. So definitely, that's one of the things that I think we need to do. So I hope by the next year, at some point, we will be able to come back to that physical meeting and interacting with people. But definitely, as you mentioned, I think this is the key point, that focus on some area and develop your expertise and then expand. Of course, you cannot keep up with everything at one time, but with the regular routine and discipline, you can learn and expand. So great insight for our viewers, I believe. So could you talk about what are the top challenges that you or perhaps the business leaders that you are interacting with they are facing, and how would you go tackling them?
Yeah, so executives, because I mostly, talk with executives from the field or project managers. So the main problem here is they are afraid they are afraid of machine learning and AI, because we know how, the news and everything goes, AI will rule us and all of that stuff that's coming up in the news. So they are really afraid about something new, because most of executives in any field, they are afraid about implementing something new. So
Mm.
the first thing is that we need to explain them what it is and how it can help their business. And the idea is that we don't want to change their traditional way of working like this, because it doesn't work like that. So we try to understand first what they do, the traditional way of working, and then we implement a small inch there that can help it grow it. And then when they see, hey, this is helping, it's really helping us, we are then they're willing, to work with you more. And the way how I see it, it's building trust. So that's the first thing that we do. And the struggles that you have is that you need to understand the industry. So it's not like you just know to code in Python and you know to make machine learning algorithms. It doesn't work like that. The example of it is that, it's like a auto AI, it's this is a coffee.
Yeah.
So, but if I gave an AI to make me a coffee and give him ingredients that can be, wine or something else, he will make, and it will look like coffee, but the taste will not be coffee. So it will be disgusting for a person who wanted a coffee. So
Yeah.
that's actually the same thing. So if you want to make a coffee, so let's imagine this is an algorithm and it's making a coffee, you need to understand the production of the coffee and how it goes so that you get a quality product. That's really important. And the most people in industry, they don't understand that they need to understand the industry and the problem and then use the tools and algorithms. Because, in my experience on all of the projects, I would like to use that cool tools, advanced, deep learning stuff, a lot of stuff, but mostly I use regression classification and sometimes clustering. That's a reality in the industry.
Yeah.
So because more other ones that are from deep learning that are more advanced, when I work on it, I am like so much pumped, but they are not still, business related, and they cannot still be implemented in the business, that the business has a value. And I think the first thing is that business needs to have a value from it. If the business doesn't have a value from it, then, there is no reason for that. So then it's, waste of the time and the money and everything.
Yeah.
Uh, and so
I liked your analogy about, because this is very important, right? So AI cannot make you coffee if you put something else in it. So garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you don't have the data which is ready for that purpose, for training the algorithms, then you cannot get the insights that you are looking for. So you already mentioned the fear that people, the business leaders, are not ready to jump into it. And the second thing is, like, it has to be related to their problem and not the coolness of the technology, right? So deep learning, for example, okay, it is used by self-driving cars and those industry people working there, but not in every industry. So I would agree with you. Like, there are many cases where we could work with classical machine learning. So what are the other challenges that you see working with business leaders in terms of their readiness to accept machine learning? Is it like, do you see the culture and mindset in terms of readiness? Do you see in terms of data and perhaps some other issues like technologies and those kind of things?
it's before Corona, for this specific industry, they were not so much open-minded. But when Corona started, they were aware, because in the Corona time, they realized how their processes are too much old, how their processes needs to be advanced.
Hmm.
And now, I also got, calls from other industries, different people from other industries who are calling me to help them to, automate their processes, because they realize, first thing that everybody realized, it's that they didn't know how to move their, employees online. And from our side, we have everything online.
Yeah.
you know I even I remember before Corona, it was not possible for to see a oil and gas manager, on Zoom. it was only possible to see him live, and you need to go to his, office in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Qatar, whatever, and then
Yeah.
you need to meet him in person. It was not possible that you can have a Zoom with him. And I remember in April, it was our ongoing project, and all of the people from the company, they were on the Zoom, and some of them, they for first time used the Zoom, and they were not, convenient with it with them. But then they said, okay, but the business needs to move on. So now they are much more open to it,
Yeah.
because they realize that they need to change, because if they don't change, even their industry can be much more impacted as any other. Now I think that in this situation, I think the corona, one good thing that we can say from corona is that now people can distinguish, um, that now it's less time for bullshit stuff. So now you need to make something that's really bringing the value, and then
Yeah.
you see it really wisely. So it's not any more time, for drinking coffees, thinking about it, then working on the report, sending it back. So now you actually take action and responsibility for all your actions, and then to make something that can utilize the company, and then to break bridges. Because I mostly work with big companies, and big companies, they have a problem because they have a lot of employees, and it's not easily to track all of the what's happening there. So actually it helps also from a administration perspective. So you can implement a lot of stuff from it, so that all the people in the building, that they are actually working on something, that they are passionate about it, they make results. And then as that, if you have passionate people working, then the company is for sure making and bringing most to the perspective of good stuff, that is, their people are passionate and working on stuff that they really like, and
Yeah.
then they're again making the money. So it's a good gap, good connection between both sides.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So doing machine learning for the sake of getting value, not for the sake of doing it, right? Because everybody is doing, so let's do it. But if you do not get anything out of it, it's useless. Another thing that I noticed, and I would like to know from your experience, how is that currently, or how has that you seen changing over time? The business leaders' readiness to allocate the money and funds to invest in AI initiatives. At least in my encounters with the different clients, I've seen like not everybody is really ready to invest, although it has been changing over the past couple of years. But I think we are still not fully there in terms of like whole business landscape, that everybody who needs to invest money in realizing, in allocating funds, in acquiring talent, or third parties or companies outsourcing the projects to realize machine learning efforts. What do you say on that? What is your experience?
Yeah, my experience is, that it's still there, that we need to explain them, to understand their problem, and then to say, okay, we can resolve this problem, and then the machine learning can help you this way. It's their decision if they want to invest in it or not. But it's really simple. I see it as a competitive advantage. So, it's better that you begin before your competition, because, if you're waiting that all of your competition begin to use it, then you are already lagging back, and you're already, the last in the process.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. It's something that it's helping everywhere, every industry. So it depends from the industry to the industry. But in this specific industry, oil and gas, they are open to new technologies. They're really open for it, but they really want to know, okay, for this kind of money, what we are getting for it,
Yeah.
what value for the business. So that way is, we just need to explain the differences between, data science, machine learning, and AI. Because
Yeah.
to be honest, the practical stuff in any industry is machine learning. So that's something that's applicable right now, and this other part, they are coming. So my idea is, we should first utilize part of machine learning, and then introduce it in the businesses, and then after that, when they were ready, depending on their maturity level, then we can use this new technology. So it's not, selling AI and deep learning, but actually selling products and solutions. Or it doesn't need a necessity to be a product. It can be, consultant basis that you
Yeah.
go get their data, understand it, and then give some insights, and then it will
Yeah.
be remarkable for them.
Yeah, I think, and that's a fair expectation from the business leaders, right? To what value we are getting out of it. So it doesn't matter if you are using logistic regression or neural networks. For them, what matters is like, okay, we are investing this money, we are spending time with you, we are allocating our resources, our business people. So what do we get out of it? So I think that's a fair expectation. Continuing on that, so how important is the domain knowledge in terms of realizing business use cases, and how do you acquire it? Because traditionally what happens is, not everywhere, but there are businesses which are really demanding, and they're the people that their workforce, they need to continue the business operations, right? So how do you acquire this domain knowledge, and
Yeah.
what is the importance?
Yeah, so when I got to have clients in oil and gas, I needed to learn everything about it.
Yeah,
So it's my days that I'm learning about it, as I need to understand deeply what is happening there. And we mostly work out tools are in the process safety. So our idea that it's everything that we do is that we don't want. Its idea is that we don't have. So it's no damage to people, no damage to environment, and no damage to assets. That's how we do it. And I needed to understand everything that's happening there. I needed to understand their terminology so that I can understand engineers. I can understand their managers what they are actually talking, because
yeah,
their way of talking is entirely different from field of data science and machine learning. So from my perspective, I think business domain knowledge is really important. So that's something that actually helps you to make tools that are useful for the business.
yeah,
So I heard a lot of data scientists. I met a lot of them who say, but we don't need to know anything. We just go and make a tool. But that's the same explanation with the coffee.
yeah,
So, and I'm saying, if you want to be in this field, necessity is that with that industry with whom you are working, you need to understand it. So I'm not a chemical engineer, but I learn all of that and I'm not stopping. So it's probably, I'm still, learning about it, about every of their industry to understand it so that all of our products can actually be useful for them. So it's not like, oh, I'm finished. That's okay. I cannot finish today, but I need to learn it. The good thing again is that I'm passionate about this industry.
yeah.
I was in high school. I was going on competitions for on my chemical studies, so I was really good at the chemical. So it seems that that it's
That's
connected again.
yeah.
And
That's really interesting indeed, because and it's a unique perspective. I would say that, because if you just I heard in my personal experience the people saying, okay, we just go and talk to a business, but like if you as you said, so if you do not know the concept, the terminology that they use and what do they mean by it, it's difficult to bridge that communication gap. So it's good to do start with that, and if you have passion for that industry or that business domain, I think it really makes it a lot easier to start easily communicating and be one of their friends early on.
yeah, yeah. So I think domain knowledge is really important, really important. So
Yeah, absolutely.
even maybe sometimes even more important than other parts. So I can say it like 60% is domain knowledge, and then 40% is knowledge from the perspective of data science, machine learning, and AI, and then that can bring a lot of value from that side.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any let's say unusual or absurd things that you are practicing in this field, or when you're helping your client, or is there any unusual thing that you would advocate for data scientists or even business leaders?
Yeah, the thing that I do is recently, I begin to take a piano classes.
Hmm.
as doing, data science and AI, you're mainly using one side of your brain, so you're not using the creative side of brain. So I tried to find something. So music calms me down. So also I have time when I'm listening to the music, and then it helps me a lot. Another thing that I do, it's not connected to data science and machine learning, but I make prototypes. Like I make how the whole product will look like, and I make it live, and then based on that, we can see immediately. Okay, is this working? Do Will this work? Is this a value or not? So it's some designer part that I do. It's my creative part of a brain that I use. So it helps me a lot. So I don't know, it's unusual, but I'm trying, to find something entirely different.
Yeah.
And um, something that I always do is, I have gym time when I go, and I'm entirely cut off from the world. It helps me a lot. And I got a lot of ideas when I was actually going into the gym and then going back.
Yeah.
And another thing that I always do is walking. I have long walks for like 60 minutes, and then I got an idea. So
Yeah,
um,
I think these are excellent pointers because with the first example, I was wondering, okay, piano is not my thing, so I have very limited, close to nothing right on that, so it would be difficult. But I'm glad that you mentioned a few examples. I
yeah,
think the point that you are trying to make is try to find out something which is out of your business or out of your working domain, which gives you the opportunity to think and visualize and ideate, right? I
yeah,
think that's the point. Yeah.
because music, if you look at it as a piano and everything, music, it's every point is like pop pop, it's connected and it
Sequence.
has a
Yeah.
vibration. So I see it like mathematics. It has, you need to learn something, and then it needs to make a music from it. So I'm also awful at it, but I'm trying it, and it's entirely different. So
Yeah.
it's out of the scope of the stuff that I'm doing, but it helps me because then I have time when I'm doing something entirely different. So it's a nice part to
Yeah,
try.
maybe I should try that. I think that's an excellent point, but I think the core is try something different, something out of your routine, and make it a routine as well. But that makes you like creative and think about ideas and visualize. Because humans, as humans, we are really good at visualizing only if we use that capability, right?
For.
Yeah. So moving on, what really inspires you to be in this data science field? Every day you think, okay, I like this field. I keep learning. I keep solving business problems. So what does really inspire you?
I see that the stuff we do is we are solving the problems in the industry, and stuff that we do impacts a lot of people. So because I don't know if you know it, but from oil and gas industry, everything beside oil and gas, you got most of the products you got from oil and gas industry. So my clothes now, the inputs come from oil and gas industry. Our cars coming a lot of stuff. Even this plastics
Yeah.
has from oil and gas industry. So then so it's something that it's keep us going. So I think that I'm doing something good for mankind, because we are helping them to be to have a sustainable revenue, to think about the environment, think about the people, think about the assets and everything, because for sure they don't want to have their assets down on the in the sea. They don't want that. So they want actually to be everything really really good. So it's a really good idea. And from other side, when I was little, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So but I just didn't know what. So I think that this is exactly the field that it's meant for me, and this industry is meant for me. So it's like love in the same together. And from other hand, my other idea and the mission is that as a girl, I didn't have a lot of role models, because especially in IT, and especially in data science and machine learning, you don't have a lot of girls who are in the industry.
Yeah.
So then I decided, maybe because I don't have a role model, maybe I can become a role model to some little girls, or to my kid tomorrow. So that's something that keeps me going every day. So because I'm an ordinary girl, but I just take jump every day. I'm from ordinary family. Just the idea is that you need to take an action every day. So if I could do something like this, I'm sure that any other girl can do it. So the first thing is that you first need to find a passion, because it's not like I find the passion from the first time. I
Yeah.
finished the faculty that the stuff that I do, they didn't have any connection with it.
Yeah.
My first jobs that I had, they are not connected to it. I have tried as many times until I find something that's exactly like that. If you look at it, my entrepreneur career began in 2014. Now it's 2020. So now I'm actually on it because I found it like 100% match. But it
Okay.
takes a lot of time to
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
So it's just first step, let's say. And then from that, and the really important thing is, if you feel that you are not making a value on the job that you are doing, then it's better to go from it. Because I really believe that if you're unhappy with something that you are doing, even you are making a ton of money, it's not worth it. Especially now in this situation, we now see what is important to us.
Exactly. It's your life, it's your happiness, it's your family, it's your connections. I think you're absolutely right on that. And excellent spirit. I liked your spirit. If there is no trendsetter, no role model, so let me be that woman, that girl. I think that's the great spirit. And the passion is definitely something that we can leverage. Of course, it takes time, as you say, to really find, okay, this is my thing that I want to do. I think that's really great. Um, what advices would you give to the other business leaders, those who want to realize data science in AI, to build use cases to bring value to their business, and what things they should ignore when they're on this journey?
Yeah.
What are their do's and don'ts, in your opinion?
First thing that you should ignore is when someone comes and says, "Hey, I'm an expert from the field and I have 15 years of experience." That guys just go around it. It's simple like that. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
Another thing is when that they should avoid is people who just use trending terminology. When they use just that everything is AI. I had a situation recently when one guy who was claiming that he knows a lot about the industry, he was showing us regression in classification as deep learning and AI, like neural networks. And people who are on there, they were not aware of it, because if you are a manager, you don't know how that look like. But that's also important. So I think that managers and executives needs to know is they need to understand the basics of it. So they need to understand the difference between regression, classification, clustering, and even neural networks, so that they have understanding of that. So they don't need to make that, but they need to understand the difference between it. They
Yeah.
also need to understand the difference: what is data science, what is machine learning, what is deep learning, what is AI. Then they need also to see, not in their industry, for example, but to see applications that are utilized in different industry and helping and working. If they see from that, then I think that's enough that they can move from it. And then they can think, okay, then we can maybe make our team, or maybe we can find an external party who can help us first to implement all of our tools. And then based on that, after, they can even help us to make our team in the house. Because I think that the future of every company is that every companies will have their dedicated data science team in the future. And then,
Yeah.
of course, for some stuff that they don't want to have outside of the company. And then for other parts, they will have people from experts from the field who can help them to make some tools, because it's not possible that you in house can make everything.
Yeah.
And not because if you go and invest a lot of money in it, there is not a lot of business value. Because one thing that people forget is you need first to teach people to know to use data science and machine learning. It's so much popular, but actually you don't have a lot of people who really know how to use it. So I spend a lot of time, teaching my people how to utilize it, how to begin to think first about how to utilize the problem, then how to use the tools. So it's always, that kind of, I'm learning and then I'm learning the teams for that. So it's not you get, five experts and you give them the daily work and they will know everything. It doesn't work like that.
I think great set of tips. So they really need to isolate. I really like that, the noise from the signal, or let's say in their mind, they need to classify. Okay, these are the experts and these are not the experts, right? And without using the machine learning algorithm, they can just classify those who are just using the buzzwords, or if they have the real experience and how would they solve their business problem. And I think the key is that you cannot build everything at your own. So you need to have a mixture of the strategy around this. Great set of advices there. So in your opinion, what are the recent breakthroughs in the data science field in the past 1-2 years, and what are the trends that you see moving forward?
Yeah, I see that there is a lot of stuff coming in the part of NLP. For a long time I was obsessed with NLP because one project that I did for US government was a voice bot, and back then we were working on it. Now even we have also stuff on Serbian because before you didn't have anything on Serbian, so it's coming up. And I think that NLP is coming much more. So I see the future for chatbots and the future of having some kind of personal assistant. So everybody of us, we watched that movie Her. So I think that's something that is coming for sure.
Yeah.
And especially now when we are all close like this and everything that's happening and we don't have any more so much connections with other people, I see that coming really really fast. And we know that Google, Amazon, IBM's, they're all working on it. So eventually that will happen really soon, that we will be having plugs and then talking with a tool. For me, for example, I would really like if I have an assistant for a lot of stuff that can be like that, personal perspective. Also another part that I don't like is that massive hit of deep fakes that you have. So that's a huge problem because we people, we have a trust based on we are visual. So when you see the person is talking and then it's you see the different parts of what they're saying, and especially in this situation, then we cannot distinguish what is real and what is fake. So that's something that's another part of industry. But I think there needs to be control in terms of that there is rules from the law perspective and everything. After being in a field, I realized before I thought having a different law specific stuff, I didn't see that's so much important for business. Now I see it's really important. So for data information, for all of the regulation that needs to be there and the control of it, so that way that, because if we don't have it, it will be like Wild West. So it's really important because you always have people who want to make quick money, and that can jeopardize a lot of people, because this technology is that it can jeopardize a lot of people. So it's not you smash a couple of people, so it's not a big problem. This is a huge stuff that can be happening. So there's always with the new technology, you have always a good part and a bad part from one perspective. I don't know, I always believe in this better. I always say about the stuff that is going that it's bad in industry, I always point it out, because the first thing that you can do is you need to point it out.
Yeah, I think those are excellent points in the respect that, of course, we need to be optimist or seeing the better part, as you put it. But of course, there are deep fakes and things like that. So we need to think about and raise our voices around how can we build our trust in AI systems, how we can make sure that they are there is no bias involved in training those systems and in predicting the result of those systems, right? And as in the past, it was seeing used to be believing, but that is quickly changing. So now I think it will turn around into seeing is becoming doubting, because the picture is not going to be 1,000 words, because 999 are doubtful because of the defects and things like that. Yeah. So, are there any person that you really follow to keep up with this data science? Could you mention one or two, or could you mention like people that you would like to be interviewed as the next business leader?
So three more, people who I always follow. One of them is it's Ben Taylor. So I really follow a lot of stuff that he writes, he talks. I even met him when I was in US. So he's a really interesting guy.
Yeah,
I follow him a lot. Then from other one from the female data scientist case Zucker from Google, I follow a lot of stuff. I was even listening last year on Web Summit. Her explanation of AI and use of it, I really love it. So she found to explain complex stuff in really easy manner in 10 minutes. That for me it was really nice. And she's, by the way, from the she's from psychology. So, and it's again, you can see a different domain knowledge, and she's using it really, really well. Then the guys from whom I learn a lot. So my career, like first courses that I had in data science and machine learning was from Kirill Remenko and Hadlin Devas. So they are really young. They put everything in it. So I was really inspired by them, and I really learn from their courses. So, any of those two guys, if they can be on the, on the show, it would be remarkable.
perfect, excellent, excellent. That's I think that brings a great name to consider for moving forward. Are there any other points that you want to make as a closing remarks or your viewpoints?
Yeah, I think it's that people should see if they're passionate about data science and machine learning and AI, because it's not easy. So you need to really put a lot of time in it. A lot of times something is not working. You have a curve. The curve is not like this. It's always like up and down, up and down. So if
Yeah,
you're ready for something like that, then this market is for you. If it's not, then it's better for you to find something else that you're much more passionate about than this one.
yeah. I think I would agree absolutely. You need a passion, and if you're up for challenges, then you could definitely look into data science and coming across these challenges. Thank you, Mania. It was excellent talking to you. It was great conversation. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Likewise.